What if I told you Luffy's greatest secret isn't finding the One Piece? It's proving you can invest even if you're broke. Sounds crazy, right? But here's the math. If you started with just $50 a month, you'd end up with over $150,000 by retirement. That's not a fantasy. That's compounding. That's treasure without needing gold bars in your hand. Most people believe you need piles of money to invest. They say, I'll start when I make more. But that's the trap, because the longer you wait, the more treasure maps you throw into the sea. And those maps never come back. Here's the problem. Broke beginners think small starts don't matter. The promise? If you learn how to flip scraps into treasure, you'll never worry about money again. And today, I'll show you 3 One Piece investing secrets. 1. Start with scraps and build momentum. 2. Treat side quests like treasure maps. 3. Unlock the compounding lever that turns little money unstoppable. And by the end, you'll see why even broke investors can become wealthy. Because the one piece of money isn't about what you start with, it's about how long you sail. When I was broke, I told myself the same lie. I'll invest later when I have more. But later never came. Every month I delayed was like burning another treasure map. And in money, a map burned is a fortune lost. In One Piece, chasing the wrong map wastes years. In real life, waiting until you're 30 or 40 costs you hundreds of thousands. That's the real cost of waiting. Not what you spend, but what you'll never see again. Remember Luffy's first ship? It wasn't the Going Merry. It wasn't the Thousand Sunny. It was a tiny dinghy patched together, barely holding. But did he wait for the perfect ship? No, he set sail anyway, and that's the first step. With scraps, made the journey possible. Most people wait until they've got 5,000 or 10,000 to invest. They think 20, 50, even $100 is pointless. That's the trap. Waiting means compounding never starts. Start with scraps, even if it's $5, $20, $50 a month. The ship doesn't matter. The direction does. I remember when I invested my first $100. I laughed at it. This won't do anything. Years later, that 100 had quietly grown. Not because I was smart, but because I gave it time. $50 a month starting at 20 equals $150,000 or more. Start at 30, you lose nearly half. That's like choosing between owning a fleet or watching from the dock. That's the difference between buying 1,000 PS5s or none. That's your retirement trip around the world. Gone if you wait. Nami's maps, Zoro's bounties, Sanji's cooking. At first, they weren't treasure, but without them, the crew wouldn't survive. Side quests make the main quest possible. Most people ignore side income. They think the 9 to 5 paycheck is everything. But that's like Luffy trying to conquer the Grand Line with no crew. He'd sink before the first island. Monetize side quest. Sell online. Freelance. Tutor. Flip items. Even 100 extra a month changes everything when invested. I once flipped sneakers online. At the time, it felt like scraps. But looking back, if I had invested half, tens of thousands by now. $100 a month side quest equals 15 to 20,000 in 10 years. $200 a month equals nearly 40,000. That's like paying off your student loans early. That's a year of rent in a big city. That's a study abroad trip fully covered. The final secret is compounding. It's the true log pose of investing. At first, it looks small. But over time, it guides you where treasure's hidden. Most beginners quit when growth looks small. They say, this isn't working. They forget compounding is exponential. Slow at first, but explosive later. Invest daily. $5, $10, doesn't matter. I had a friend who waited until he could put in 500 at once. 3 years later, he finally started. But the guy who just did $5 a day, he was already ahead. Less total money invested. That's compounding. You thought pirates got rich from jackpot treasure chests? Wrong. Real wealth came from controlling trade routes and stacking small wins. Same with investing. Jackpot dreams mean nothing if you never start sailing. You think villains like Buggy or Crocodile keep treasure forever? Wrong. Quick grabs collapse, but Luffy invests in his crew, his consistency, his journey. That's why his treasure lasts. So, what's the real secret to investing with little money? Start small. Stack side quests. Pull the compounding lever. Even broke, you can build treasure worth $500,000 to $1 million over your lifetime. The One Piece isn't a chest of gold. It's the journey, the crew, and the leverage of time. Your money works the same. Scraps into treasure. Question of the day. If you had a One Piece style treasure map for money, what would you chase first? Drop it in the comments. Download your free Star Path budget map below. Your starter guide from turning scraps into wealth. It's linked right below in the description. Until next time, friends, under the glow of stars, we forge our future together. Captain Geo Bravo signing off. Peace.